Ultimately, much of Metroid Prime 4 feels like a failed experiment. As great as it is to explore the lightning struck Volt Forge or pick through the haunted remains of the Ice Belt facility, the game's standout moments are buried in drudgery. All right, hold on, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is enjoyable enough and has glimpses of vintage Metroid shining through, but this game could and should have been so much more. What's up? Welcome to Sparks Gaming. We're talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond on the Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, I feel like, has sparked the internet with these reviews. So let's talk about that a little bit. If you're new here, definitely consider subscribing, smash that like button so that way you don't miss future videos. Has the world gone soft, or are we being too critical, those that are reviewing? With a Metascore of 81 being generally favorable, people are talking, man. Giant Bomb, despite a few tweaks and new features, motion controls, psychic powers, a nonlinear hub world, and occasional side character, this is Metroid Prime through and through. One of the things that stood out for me the most when it came to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond was going in the open land desert with your new motorcycle and traveling around, which seemed like there wasn't much out there. I mean, you have the occasional monsters that pop up and stuff. And once again, I'm stating this with just watching some gameplay. I think they could have done a lot more with that. And honestly, I would have preferred just a more linear experience. But with this kind of Zelda approach that a lot of people are talking about, I don't know how much of a fan I am of that. And I think that's the biggest question mark for me. What have your impressions been so far? Let me know. Do you think that this game deserves better than an 81 score? Let me know down in the comments. Let's check out this video by Game Informer and react to his review.
Video games are my favorite medium of artistic expression because they allow you to explore and exist in fully realized worlds. The Metroid franchise persists and is important to longtime game fans because it was an early touch point for this kind of interactive experience. From its beginning, Metroid excelled at making you feel like you are in a science fiction world that you are exploring at your own pace. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond maintains the high standards set by previous games in the series with incredible atmosphere and subtle touches that make the planet of Euros look and sound real. It's not without a handful of annoyances that hinder the immersion.
It's a pretty good score. 8.75.
For the fourth entry in the Prime sub-series, Samus finds herself at the service of the Lamorn, an ancient race of aliens that are not the Chozo, but are certainly similar. She is the prophesized warrior that will help them recover, and that means exploring a large desert flanked by
That just doesn't look good. Everything until this point looked good.
a handful of fascinating locations, each housing upgrades and teleportation keys.
That's pretty neat, making it
There
like a
are
racetrack.
perhaps Nintendo games with more striking art direction, but Metroid Prime 4, with the support of Switch 2, is arguably the best looking game the publisher has ever released. The industrial settings glow with impressive lighting and effects, and looking out into the natural environment is stunning. Developer
Looks
Retro
beautiful.
Studios is an expert
Wow.
at setting a lonely alien mood, and I was enamored by the impressive
That's
mechanical
crazy.
animations of all the otherworldly hardware. My favorite location, the floating motorcycle factory energized by perpetual lightning storms, feels genuinely dangerous and scary. I was less enthused by locations like the snowy laboratory or the bland mines, but moving through them all is exciting and rewarding. The first-person action gameplay is familiar to
And I think that's fair. I don't expect all areas to be crazy, but I've seen that time and time again with people that are talking about their reviews about literally this being one of the prettiest games on Switch 2, period. And that's a heck of a claim. But beauty isn't all, right? It's not the end all be all. And obviously there's elements to this game that are missing, but let's keep watching.
Previous Prime games and feels good. Samus's new psychic powers don't radically change the fun lock-on shooter gameplay, but I enjoyed remote controlling the control beam at opportune times in boss fights and to solve puzzles. The pacing and unfolding of each location are immaculately designed, funneling you toward objectives while consistently planting seeds that make you want to return later with expanded abilities. The desert hub area where Samus drives her motorcycle between objectives is the perfect size. Big enough that the motorcycle feels necessary, but not so big that you are ever driving for too long.
Just don't know how I feel about that.
A recurring task assigned to Samus throughout the game in the desert is collecting green crystal energy. I enjoyed ping-ponging between the crystals and running them over with my motorcycle, but I didn't love that I hit an endgame roadblock where I had not collected enough to proceed and had to spend time growing my bank before I could pursue the finale. And it is in that finale where I hit most of my road bumps. Narratively, the conclusion is underwhelming, and the story lead-up isn't particularly compelling either. The small cast of Federation soldiers Samus encounters is generally charming, and they stay out of your way after their introduction.
I've heard different things about this as well, about dialogue and how annoying the cutscenes are and pretty much like a waste of time. But what it seems like is the battles themselves are good. The beauty of this game is really good. Traversing, not so much. But that's really sad to hear that the ending isn't really all that. Like that's a big blow.
Grateful I could call them when I wasn't sure where to go, but they become burdens when they enter the action. Instead of being grateful for their help, I was annoyed that they would trigger game overs when I didn't revive them fast enough. Thankfully, instances of their quote-unquote help in combat are rare. The vast majority of the game is spent in lonely silence.
This is where you come in, Samus. But, I am here if you need anything.
Yes, Samus can handle it.
Perhaps most disappointing, however, is the inability to re-enter your save before the point of no return after beating the game. I adore mopping up all the power-ups and turning over every last stone after seeing credits in this genre, but unless you create a backup before the final area, something the game does not explicitly encourage you to do, your only way to collect what you may have missed is to restart, which I did on the unlocked harder difficulty, but I wasn't happy about it. My annoyances with Beyond are vastly overshadowed by a pristine, rock-solid science fiction exploration experience. Discovering all Vuros has to offer is incredibly rewarding and delivers an unmatched sense of alien ambiance. The wait for a new Metroid Prime has been long, but it only takes a few minutes in Beyond to remember why we have been so eager to re-enter this universe for the last 18 years.
Man. That's tough. It's like, is it worth purchasing? Is it worth purchasing? I gotta keep watching more, doing more deep dives into other reviews. I mean, we see that the score is an 8 out of 10 for the most part. I think it's a fair score, which means it's actually a good score. Pretty much, you're going to buy the game, you're going to enjoy yourself, but there's certain things that need to be fixed. Great. I think that's definitely fair. But is it worth the money? Is it something that I'll return to? And those are the things that I've been asking myself over and over again, and trying not to just waste my money on games, because there's way too many games that have been releasing and are going to release. So are you scooping up Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? Let me know down in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this. Kept it short and sweet. Just wanted to kind of share my thoughts as I'm snooping around YouTube and seeing other people's thoughts as well. But I do hope you enjoyed this. And once again, if you did, smash that subscribe button. I can't talk. And smash that like as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.